All right. Hello, Zeke and Addie, and anyone else who's watching this. I'm recording right now in the library, so if I stop and say, hi, I'm recording a video, that just means that someone walked in. So all the instructions should be hopefully for you on your assignment sheet, but if you have questions about that, you can obviously let me know. We are going to go through our vocab real quick. So you can just watch and then you'll get to do your vocab sheet. Drudgery is hard, unpleasant, and boring work. So an example of something, a task that might be very drudgerous, or a task defined as drudgery, might be doing the dishes or vacuuming. Those are tasks that seem very drudgerous, or they're tasks that you could define as drudgery. Altered is when something has been altered, it has been changed. So if you altered a dress, that would mean you change the dress, usually by sewing it. Or if you alter a book, you might accidentally tear the pages out of it. It's just anything that's been changed. So if the school was altered when you got back, that just means it was changed somehow. So maybe a wall was painted different, or a classroom was added on. That's altered as changed. Skeptically. If you talk skeptically about something, you express doubt about whether it is true. So this is kind of the same word as suspiciously. If you're really skeptical about something, you are really suspicious about what someone's saying. Next word is discouraged. If something discouraged you, it made you believe that things were not going to turn out as you had hoped. So you might feel very discouraged if you did bad on your math test because you hadn't done as well as you had hoped. Or you might be very discouraged if you might feel very discouraged when you found out that you were going to have to quarantine because things weren't turning out like you had hoped. That's discouraged. Then we have plunge. If you plunge into something, you rush into it suddenly. So this is different than like plunging the toilet. This would be if you like plunge into an ocean, that would be jumping into it, rushing into it suddenly. If you plunge into your homework, that means you rush into your homework. This next word is treacherous. Something treacherous is dangerous and unpredictable. So in the winter in northern Michigan, our roads are very treacherous. They are very dangerous and unpredictable. Smoldering. Something that's smoldering is burning slowly from the inside without flames. So if you've ever seen a campfire or a bonfire when it's put out, so there's no flames anymore, those coals are still smoldering. They're still burning just without flames. The way I remember this is like they're usually smoking, like the ashes are smoking or the embers are smoking. That's similar to smoldering. And then scoff. Scoff is when you spoke about something in a mocking or critical way. So if I'm scoffing at an idea that you come up with, that means I'm kind of mocking it, kind of laughing in a mean way about it. All right, so now that you know your vocab words, you can do your vocab page. This is page 72. Make sure that you use complete sentences for numbers 9 and 10. Use complete sentences. And I think that that's pretty self-explanatory. Then, Zeke, you are welcome to stop watching because you've already done grammar with us because you were with us for half the day, but Addie, you need to keep watching. This is where we are going to identify nouns as plural, singular possessive, or plural possessive, which seems really complicated, but let me kind of give you, I'm going to draw down here. I'll also post a picture on Google Classroom for you. I'll show you what that kind of looks like. I have a picture here. It's going to look like this picture that I'm going to post for you. And basically, oh, I don't know why that's all zoomed in. I don't know. I'll have to take another picture, but there's like 4 columns. So basically there's kind of 4 different ways that we can write out nouns. So there's singular nouns, which a singular noun would be like a cat. There's singular possessive. And I'd like you to take notes with me as I write this, so you can write this on your page. Singular possessive would be cats. Possessive means something belongs to you. So like if that's the cat's tail, that's singular possessive. So I have one cat is singular. It's a singular noun, just one cat. And singular possessive means I still have just one cat, but something belongs to that cat. Then we have plural. Plural would be cats. Because I have more than one. Plural means more than one. And then plural possessive, it's where it gets a little tricky. Oops, I'm spelling things wrong because plural, oh no, I spelled that right. I'm going kind of fast. Plural possessive is where it gets a little tricky. So plural possessive, I would take that word cats and I would put an apostrophe on the end. Let me explain why. If I had 5 cats and I was talking about their tails, I wouldn't want to say the 5 cats' tails. That seems kind of silly to have that extra apostrophe S. That's just too many S's. So if our plural possessive ever ends in S, we're just going to put an apostrophe on the end, okay? All right, I'm going to kind of explain what that means up here. So up here it asks us to identify each underlined noun as either plural, singular possessive, or plural possessive. Now here's a huge hint. Plural does not have an apostrophe. Because remember down here, plural just meant cats, just more than one. And then it never even asks us to identify singular. So really the most challenging part is going to be, is it singular possessive or is it plural possessive? So let's look at this one. At the park's entrance, there is an information booth. Okay, so it's not going to be plural because that means that there's no apostrophe. It's got to be either singular possessive or plural possessive. So it's actually going to be singular possessive, and here's why. There is only one park. It's not talking about there being a ton of parks. There's just one park. So one is singular, singular possessive. Let's look at this next one. The booth's sign asks visitors to be careful. Booths, it looks like there's one booth because it says the booth's signs. So that is also going to be singular possessive. It is visitors' responsibility to prevent forest fires. Here, it's talking about more than one visitor, and I know that because it's doing what I talked about here, where I have just an S and an apostrophe. So visitors, apostrophe, responsibility, that would be plural possessive. Matches. Well, this one has no apostrophe, and when it has no apostrophe, it's just going to be plural. What about here? I'm going to pause and think for a second. Is it talking about more than one fire, or is it just talking about one fire? If it's just talking about one, it's going to be singular possessive. If it's talking about more than one, it's going to be plural possessive. What do you think? It is going to be plural possessive. All right, I'm going to have you finish out this page, so you'll do 6 and 10 by yourself. And then, for 11 through 20, it's asking us, this is the singular version here already. So it wants us to do the singular possessive for each of these. The plural and the plural possessive. So singular possessive would mean I take that word, kind of like we did down here with cat, and I just put an apostrophe on it. That one's pretty simple. Mooses. Plural, which when we make moose plural, this one's really weird, so my apologies, but moose just stays the same. You might remember that from last week. And then plural possessive is also going to be mooses. Okay, number 11 was not a great example, not a good one to start with. So if that confused you, ignore it. Let's move on to this one. Calf. How do we make it singular possessive? Almost all the time when something's singular possessive, you just write it and put an apostrophe S, as in that's one calf's hoof. To make it plural, I don't know if you remember from last week, but this is how you make calves plural. And then for plural possessive, you would write that plural word, and then you need to put an apostrophe on the end. Remember that we don't do apostrophe S because that's just too many S's there. All right, let's skip goose, and let's do wolf. So to make it singular possessive, it's just wolf apostrophe S. For plural, it's wolves. And for plural possessive, it's like that. Because if we had done apostrophe S, that would make not a lot of sense. All right, I'm going to have you come back and do 15. Knife is going to be very similar to what you do for wolf, okay? But community is a little different. So to make it singular possessive, if we're talking about like the community's event, one community, we almost always just put an apostrophe S. Now if we're talking plural, I don't know if you remember, but if it ends in a Y, we drop the Y, change it to an I, and add a S. So there's it, plural. And then for plural possessive, we're going to take that plural and then make it possessive. Like that. All right, I'm going to let you skip 17, and you can do the rest. So I'm going to ask you, once you're done watching this video, all those circled ones are the ones that you need to go back and do yourself, okay? All right, let me know if you have any questions. You've got this.